Good evening, welcome to the latest live edition of That's World Boxing. Every Thursday, 7 p.m. Joined by regulars. Ander, good evening, Ander.
Evening, mate.
And Daz, good evening,
Hello,
Daz.
mate. You all right, pal?
So let's jump straight into the first topic. So we're going to have a look through the main fights from last week. Ander, you're going to take us through them. An eventful night of boxing. So I'll pass it over to you.
Right, we'll go through these quite quickly because we've got quite a few bits and bobs to talk about tonight. Even though it's quite a slow week for boxing. So straight into it, Natasha Jonas becomes a 2-weight world champion, beating Candy Wyatt. What can you say about Natasha Jonas? She is boxing, isn't she?
Quality.
I'll come to you with that, Daz.
Yeah, she's good. She's very good, mate. Very nice person as well. Very likable. She's just given herself a bargaining chip. For me, it makes, it was clever, really. I mean, she was a class above that girl. Levels above her. And now she's got a bargaining chip for winner of McCaskill Ryan.
It's a great move, isn't it? It's very clever. Very clever.
Yeah, very.
Carl, I'll take you back to 2 years ago when we first started this show. One of the first people we had on the show was Natasha Jonas, and she just not long lost to Katie Taylor in that quite close fight. She was a little bit down about it, a little bit down with herself, but still very, very positive and absolutely certain she was going to be a world champion. If that is not the way that all fighters coming through should be thinking, everyone should be looking at Natasha Jonas. Everyone goes on about Katie Taylor's the driving force in female boxing, and she is, but Natasha Jonas has done just as much for female boxing as Katie Taylor has. First female ever to box for Britain at the Olympics. She goes on, obviously, she's very, very close in that Katie Taylor fight. I had it level until the last 2 rounds. It would be very easy for a fighter, Carl, to have sulked a little bit and maybe got a bit disheartened, but not Jonas. And look at what she's done in the next 2 years.
Is there a question amongst all that, or you're just looking for my observation?
Yeah, your observation.
So she obviously dared to be great, to use a crappy term that you use, because obviously she took her opportunity, didn't she? She jumped up them few weights, got a world title fight because obviously the weight she was operating at, nobody wanted to fight her. Let's have it right after the Katie Taylor fight. So when Eddie Hearn waltzes around saying fighters need to stay fit and stay in the gym, a great example of that is Natasha Jonas. Because when the call was made, she was ready to jump up.
Yep.
And let's have it right. Not many female fighters would have jumped up them weights and jumped in. People who again doubting and saying she couldn't win the world title at that weight, she did it. And then I think she's getting her just desserts, isn't she? She's lived the life, stellar amateur career. So I think she's as much of a flag bearer as Katie Taylor is, in my humble view.
Absolutely. Not quite as decorated. Obviously, Taylor had an outstanding amateur career, winning absolutely everything but the kitchen sink. And Katie Taylor's probably been the one that's forced the headliners for females going forward and the pricing for females going forward. You give her that. But Natasha Jonas, she's just got her head down and got on with it. Through trying times as well, because she was very disappointed she never got that rematch. And then she didn't get the Katie Taylor rematch either. And then for what she's done now, mate, winning 3 belts at super welter and then drop him down and winning the IBF at welter. And like Daz has just said, she's now in the mix. She gets the winner of that McCaskill fight, and it's undisputed. It's outstanding.
And just how respectful she's been throughout as well. She had a lot of letdowns, hasn't she? Promoters not pushing her, blah blah blah. Not really gone in on anyone. A few little mentions of Eddie Hearn when he put it on her a little bit, but she stayed graceful all the way through as well. Signs of a real champion, to be honest.
Anything else you want to add, Daz, before we move on?
No, mate. No, that covers everything, I think.
Okay, moving on to the headliner. Cruz Dizern against Savannah Marshall. I think this was always going to be a brawl. A little bit messy at times, wasn't it?
I was disappointed in Savannah Marshall's performance, to be honest. I thought she made it harder.
The thing is, when you got a fighter like Cruz Dizern that makes things messy, that's what she does. She makes things messy.
I don't agree. I think Marshall could have outboxed and made it easier night work for it, to be honest.
Maybe, but that's just the way Cruz Dizern fights. She puts pressure on, makes it difficult for a fighter to set herself. So considering that, I think it's a decent result. Obviously, a decent result. She's undisputed.
I mean, she got the W. Don't get me wrong, but I think if you ask Savannah Marshall, she'll be disappointed in that performance because she could have made it easy night, not easy night work, but she could have fought differently.
Gaz, what was your perspective?
Yeah, she could have used her skills a lot more.
Yeah,
just got a messy fight. Weren't a great fight, to be fair.
She got dragged in, Daz, didn't she?
Yeah, weren't a great fight. Just messy, very messy. Just like Andy Collins just said, she could have made it a lot easier for herself. You know, not made it easier, but made it easier for herself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think she's lucky that Cruz Dizern couldn't really punch like a record or like she thought she could. But yeah, she got the win, and now it's, you know, let's aim towards Clarissa rematch. But she's got a mandatory, I believe, who's a bit of an handful. Shadacia Green, I think she's called. I think she's 12
promoted by.
I don't know who she's promoted by, for my
Jake Paul, the legend that is.
Right, but she's 12-0 with 10 KOs apparently, I think.
Yeah, they'll bypass that to make that Shields match, won't they?
Yeah, you'd think so.
I'll tell you what, she's got to perform a lot better than that to get anywhere near Shields, even at 168.
She used wrong tactics last time against Shields.
Makes you wonder whether she can not get dragged into a fight, Daz.
Well, I mean, last fight with Shields, I mean, you all saw it. She sort of just followed her around and got countered. I mean, when you're backing Shields to ropes, I said, all leading up to it, she needs to back her up, which she did most of the time. Back her up. When she goes into a defensive mode, touch. Throw a shot right side at gloves. Don't be greedy. Don't allow her to counter you.
It did make me smile though, Daz. The fact when Clarissa was saying, I ain't fighting you in the UK, although I've jumped on a plane, flew all the way over to come and tell you in person that I'm not fighting you in the UK.
Yeah, she can't sell a phone box out, can she?
Well, that's the exact point. Is female boxing just doesn't sell out in the States.
No, she can't.
Apart from the obvious Katie Taylor fight, Amanda Serrano.
I don't think such as, I mean, when you're going back a little bit, Layla Ali, Lucia Riker, you know, Christy Martin, I think they all did all right ticket wise, selling things out. I know they were mostly on undercards, the big fights, but I just think it's a thing with Clarissa Shields where not many people like her.
I think there is a bit of boxing towards female fighters, though, Daz, in the States.
Yeah, could be. I just don't think she's very likable.
I mean, it could be a very good ploy from Clarissa Shields, if you think about it. If she does drag her over to the States, Peter Fury can't go.
He won't be
Yeah.
in the States.
No.
She might have no choice, Carl.
No chance. There's always choices, isn't there?
Not if Shields
And
digs
also,
in.
do you think Chris Shields would want the win over Savannah Marshall, where she's got a ready-made excuse if Peter Fury isn't there?
I don't think she cares. She's got nothing to prove, has she? She's beat it once already.
It don't happen in America. It don't make financial sense.
It don't make financial sense, no, but maybe she's not thinking about that. Maybe she's just thinking about legacy, complete legacy. I mean, surely if she becomes undisputed at super middleweight as well, you've got to put her down as the greatest female fighter of all time, haven't you?
You'd have. Oh, Shields.
Yeah.
Well, she puts the send down as that, doesn't she?
She does, mate. And obviously before the first Marshall fight, I was thinking that was a load of hot air. But you look at her record, look at what she did in the amateurs, look at what she's done in the pros. And if she becomes undisputed at super middleweight as well as middleweight, there's a massive argument there. If just on pure achievement, there's a massive argument there that she's the best ever.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say so. I mean, I think she calls herself the greatest woman of all time. For me, at minute, that's Lucy Riker.
Right.
Lucy Riker's the best ever as a female. I mean, I saw someone chuck Layla Ali at mix over there, but
no, not quite.
Can't quite make an argument for that.
Carl, do you want to pick those two comments up, mate?
Yeah, so good evening, Lee. Lee mentions that he's interviewed Chantel Cameron, who says her and Jonas get on well and she wants to fight her after Katie Taylor rematch. Cheers for the intel, Lee. And Joe says Serrano sells, to be fair. Good point, Serrano does sell. She does sell tickets.
Okay, swiftly moving on, guys. We'll talk a little bit on the DAZN card now. Let's pick up the fight that we had a little bit of me and Daz had a little bit of to and fro about this fight for obvious reasons. Sinead
Why?
Bostain.
Because you're biased and unprofessional.
Because I'm biased.
Who were right, by the way?
Oh, you're not dining out on that one,
actually,
are you?
No, I'm not.
Mate, we were both right because I said Amos would take him to points.
Yeah, you did, yeah. Although I did say couldn't take him points or late stoppage.
Sinead Bostain, obviously against our local lad Ryan Amos. I actually think this was quite an intriguing fight because Bostain, as I'd said, has never been pushed. He was fairly comfortable in the fight, let's be fair, but Amos gave him trouble. He gave him a lot of things to think about.
Landed some shots, mate, as well.
He did. He gave him a lot of things to think about. He won a couple of rounds as well, in my opinion. I don't think it was quite as wide as the judges, the referee made it. Carl, let's have your opinion on what you think about the fight and what this does for Amos going forward.
Yeah, well, I've had a telephone conversation with Ryan Amos because obviously he's a friend of the channel post-fight, and he's a little bit disappointed in himself because he seems to think if he'd done a few things, I'm trying to keep things in confidence. But if he did a few things differently, he fancies that he would have, he might have had a chance in there. I think Ryan Amos did himself justice. I think his stock would have risen on the back of that because let's not get it twisted. Bostain could quite possibly be Matchroom's biggest potential star. Eddie Hearn's given him a massive push, really likes him, thinks he's talented, and Amos hung with him. So I'd expect Amos to get a few more fights, some bigger names, done no harm at all. But he did just come up a little bit short, and that's what I said to him during the call. It'll come again. I think Bostain's still got a bit to learn. We all know that, haven't we? I think he's still got a little bit to learn. His range, boy, when the height difference is going to be a problem in that division as he gets his man strength. But I wouldn't start jumping him up the levels too early. He wants to run before he can walk a little bit. I think is my main concern. But no, I think it's a win-win for both fighters. To where Ryan Amos was before, to where he is now in terms of standings in the division, the future looks bright.
He is massive at the weight. I was shocked when I saw him. Saw the face-off after the weigh-in. I was shocked at the size difference. I mean, that's his youth that he can still make that weight, but that won't be the case for long. Once he starts filling out, he's going to have to move up because he is massive at the weight. But he's only 22, is that right? I think that's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
21, 22?
I think he's 21.
I think he's 21.
21, and he's performing like that.
Nice kid, though.
Kyle.
I like him. He's a nice kid. I like him. He was respectful after the fight, and he's got a bit of charisma about him. So yeah.
Daz, what does this do going forward for Amos? Do you think he gets more fights on these larger shows because of how durable he is?
Yeah, I do. We aren't trying to sound disrespectful to Ryan. I think he'll get a lot more fights on things like this because he's durable, looks the part, and he's not a big puncher. Right. So he's a good test for prospects, isn't he? You know, it's just how it is. It's just how it is, mate. He's not a puncher. Yeah, he's not a puncher. Listen, if you're a puncher and he'd got power, he could have very well won because he landed some shots the other day.
He did land some big shots, yeah.
You know what I mean? But let's be fair. Maybe that's why he was chosen.
But let's not forget. He's still Midland area champion. He's got his own belt to defend as well.
Yeah,
so
he's fights for that, mate.
Well, he's going to sell. He's got this can't hurt him. We're going to come on to small all shows a bit later on. But he's going to sell lots more tickets off the back of this because people now, having seen him on the DAZN show, are going to now know his name, whereas before they may not have.
Yeah,
and that I don't mean that disrespectfully either, but it's just the way it is for small all shows.
Yeah, he's better than area level as well.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
And I understand it was a very good payday as well, which won't hurt.
No.
It helps. Well, you know, we've done an interview with him, Carl. He's full time. He doesn't have a job. He's full time, completely focused on boxing. So having that decent little payday probably takes a little bit of pressure off him, don't it?
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. We'll talk about the main headlining fight for the British and Commonwealth super lightweight title. Dalton Smith, Sam Maxwell. Daz, break the fight down for us.
A very good performance from Dalton. Didn't have it all his own way. He had obviously had bad cuts as well, and just found that shot. And I think it earlier on it ran before he landed that knockout shot. He tried it earlier on, it ran and got very close, and then just kept manoeuvring, stepping off, and you could see we're looking for it. You could see he knew it were there, and then obviously it paid off and landed.
So we've talked a little bit about how we've been a bit disappointed with Dalton's performances of late. Cole, does that right, that wrong? Can you see him now? He's won the British title outright. I know he's just won the Commonwealth as well, but can you now see him moving on to European?
Yeah, he said after the fight, didn't he want to go the traditional route. I thought that was a very good performance because I quite like Maxwell. I think he's a good operator. And he was always going to have spells of success in that fight, Maxwell was. But yeah, I think Dalton Smith looked a level above, to be honest. The problem he's got is in a tough division at world level, isn't it? You know, a very tough division. So I understand him going the European route and then onto fringe world. But again, I like the kid. There's no bad mouthing at weigh-ins or press conferences. He does his talking in the ring. And I'll be honest, that was some knockout. You know, he absolutely ironed him out, didn't he?
Absolutely.
It was, which suggests he carries power as well, which he's going to need in that division as he goes up through the levels. I mean, one for Nicola Oatwell, if she's watching, I'll be glad to go to a proper football ground in Sheffield when he has it at Hillsborough. So, yeah, he's talking about having it at Hillsborough, so I'll be glad to go along to a proper football team in Sheffield.
She's going to love you.
Well, we've done Bramall Lane for boxing. Let's move on to, like you say, let's move on to a club with a bit of history.
Yeah. That's our interviews out the window.
I think I better be careful Saturday when I come down to see her. Okay, Carl. Let's move on. Let's move on from last week's shows now. Pick up some of the topics that we're going to talk about going forward.
Okay, so let's talk about at last, we have some movement in the heavyweight division in terms of one fight that's been confirmed, two fights that's been confirmed, and one that we believe is about to be confirmed. So, Andy, we'll let you do the breakdown first. Let's go on the one that's been announced just hours earlier, which is AJ versus Dillian Whyte at the O2 on the 12th of August.
Yeah, this has been a long time in the making. They've been talking about it for ages. I'm a little bit surprised that they haven't made this a stadium fight. Maybe that tells you where both of the fighters are in their career. They're perhaps a bit scared that they can't sell out a stadium. But it's in the O2, which is a massive venue in its own right, and used to be AJ's home for a long time in his career. Am I overly excited about this fight? I'm not overly excited about anything in the heavyweight division, if I'm honest. But what you're going to end up getting here, even if they've both dropped a level, is you're going to get a scrap.
Good match, isn't it?
Yeah, you're going to get a scrap. The build-up's going to be good. You know, Dillian's going to try and get under AJ's skin. And to be honest with you, it don't take a lot. AJ normally stays quite calm, but when it comes to Dillian Whyte, for whatever reason, he can't. You know, there's always something. There's always been something. Even when he knocked him out afterwards, you know, there's always been that little bit of bad blood that's never gone away. I'll watch it because I think it'll be entertaining. But other than that, mate, whatever, you know.
What about you, Daz?
Yeah, I'll watch it. Same, I'll watch it, but I won't be paying 27 quid for it.
No,
that's for sure. It's probably the best fight for AJ to take, you know, leading up to Wilder, because he's going to get a little bit of a test, and it could also be a massive confidence booster for him if he just picks him apart, you know. But obviously he's got one eye on Wilder, hasn't he? Which, you know, you can't really be overlooking Dillian Whyte, to be fair, but could be a potential banana skin for him.
I was going to say, by all accounts, the Saudis aren't best pleased that AJ is taking this fight, because obviously if AJ loses, that fight's gone.
Yeah.
AJ must be very, very confident, Carl, in winning.
I think he's forced into it, mate. To be fair, it's credible.
Well, basically, they were avoiding Dillian Whyte until he went on the TalkSport breakfast show, the TalkSport show with Simon Jordan, and basically Dillian Whyte said, "I'll take that first offer," because apparently Eddie Hearn reckoned he turned it down. Yeah. So Dillian Whyte said, "I'll take that first offer. I'm not bothered. Let's just get the fight on." So
he's made Eddie Hearn look a bit of a pillock, really. There,
basically, he's forced him into taking the fight. He's forced him into making the fight, because otherwise AJ would have looked a bit daft, and so would Eddie Hearn if they didn't have made it.
Let's have it right though. Dillian Whyte wouldn't earn his money anywhere else, would he? At the minute,
of course he wouldn't, and that's and it's probably his last big payday, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's probably his last big payday, unless he puts it on AJ, and I mean, he's capable of knocking people out, Dillian Whyte, especially with that left hook.
Mate, he's got to jump straight on AJ.
Yeah,
yes.
That's what he said he's going to do, isn't he? He's come out and said that. Yeah, I'm just going to jump straight on him.
Yeah, he's got to do it.
Going to be interesting how AJ tackles that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
listen, Dillian could walk into something, but Dillian could also put something on AJ, and he don't want it. You know.
We'll see whether he does or not,
Yeah,
won't
exactly. Because if he gets folded by Dillian White, mate, then it's a good job Wilder fights off, innit?
we? If he gets
I
beat by
reckon-
Dillian White, he's probably at the end of his career, isn't it?
Well, the loser of this, where do they go?
Yeah,
Nowhere.
yeah.
So it's one of them, and it'll be. I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a shootout. I don't believe AJ will just stick behind the Derek James style because these two, it's personal between these two, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
it
very
is.
personal. So I think once they start trading leather, it's just going to be a tear up. Never going 12 rounds, is it? Let's be honest.
No, I wouldn't
Not
have
a
thought
chance.
so.
He probably won't even go 6. Okay, Carl, next one.
Yep. So the next one is Alexander Usyk versus Daniel Dubois. Now this is going to be in Poland on the 26th of August. Again, props for Alexander Usyk not taking his mandatory, not just sitting on his hands waiting for the signing money in December. So we'll come to you first on this one, Daz. What do you think?
It's his mandatory, isn't it? So, like you said, props to him for taking it. Obviously, he's a massive, massive favourite. I don't buy this when people said Dubois got no chance whatsoever. Anyone's got a chance.
He's a big old lump.
Yeah, he can punch. Anyone's got a chance. I just don't think he's going to do it. To be fair, I just think he's going to be chasing and punching at shadows for most of it. He's probably going to get broken down around 8 or 9 rounds, I think.
There's levels into this game. We've talked about Usyk. If he was a little bit taller, he could potentially be in the bracket for being an all-time great. He's definitely one of pound for pound of this era. And Daniel Dubois been found wanting in his last few fights.
I just
that last
don't.
fight, he was very, very lucky in that last fight.
I'll stay alive. He was dreadful in that last fight. Dreadful.
He was very, very lucky. So how'd you go from fighting what was no more than a pumped up cruiserweight and nearly getting knocked out to fighting the best?
He's fighting another pumped up cruiserweight.
Yeah, but he's a bit more than a pumped up
bit more of a
cruiserweight.
skill set though.
Yeah, of course he is. Yeah, but I tell you what, I do not understand how nobody has watched Jerick Chisora v Usyk.
I know.
And followed that plan. Why? I've said it many times. Why on earth has AJ tried to outbox him?
If Chisora wouldn't have gassed that night, it would have beat Usyk, wouldn't it?
Lennox Lewis, right? Lennox Lewis is a far superior technical boxer to AJ. How do you think Lennox would have fought Usyk?
Oh, he put it on him.
He'd have absolutely roughed him. He'd have hit him anywhere, everywhere.
He's a big man then, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it'd have probably stopped him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, why? I mean, yeah, listen, you have exceptions to the rule where cruiserweights going up to heavyweight. I mean, Evander Holyfield, a freak of nature. That,
yeah,
just an absolute freak of nature, Evander Holyfield. But I just think, why has nobody, followed that Chisora?
I mean, especially in this modern heavyweight era where they're all lots taller than they were in.
They're bigger. Yeah, they're bigger man.
They're much bigger. You're talking probably 5 or 6 inches average taller than the 90s era.
Yeah. I mean, I like Usyk. Listen, Usyk's very, very good. Very, very good. But I was watching his fight back, and I know it was at cruiserweight, but I was watching his fight overnight with Tony Bellew. And Tony Bellew were breaking fight down. Tony Bellew picked him off at times.
He was foot though, Daz, wasn't
Yeah, Tony Bellew said himself, mate, when he were breaking it. It was brilliant to watch. Tony Bellew said, you know, he's very clever with his feet, and I felt like I were under pressure all the time.
Yeah.
And you know, I had my successes, which you could see. He says,
Yeah.
but ultimately, you know, I were knackered. I were shattered. But it's
Yeah.
like Chisora, then Chisora fights him. And let's be fair, Chisora shouldn't have done what he did against him, but Chisora showed the way to win. You know, bully him.
Yeah.
I don't think Daniel Dubois got enough in him to do that for long enough in the fight to get any sort of success, because you've got to be doing it round after round after round and to break somebody down like Usyk.
I mean, the thing is, someone as big as Dubois, right? If he'd got Chisora's mindset,
yeah,
and followed that plan, you won't want Dubois constantly on you and punching lumps at you for 4 or 5 rounds, would you?
which is odd.
Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
if he goes into that and tries to box box Usyk, it'll be like, what is going on? What are your trainers doing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, Cole. Moving on to the last heavyweight fight that isn't quite made, but it looks like it's going to be.
Yeah, so this is going to be an exhibition bout by all accounts, and it's Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. I don't really want to give this that much airtime, if I'm honest.
But I'll tell you what. Shall we just not give it any?
Yeah, because if it does get made, I'm disappointed, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's
we need to give it. No, we need. The thing is, though, we need to give it airtime because we need to give context to the division. Everyone's saying that Tyson Fury's the best of this era by a very long way, and potentially one of the best of all time. Well, why is one of the best of all time going in against a UFC fighter when there's world champions and other people in this area? Yeah, but that's not right, Daz.
No, but does it matter?
Well, it should matter.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It's boxing.
But it's not boxing, though, is it? It's an exhibition. It's not even. You know what annoys me? What annoys me about this whole situation is the WBC. Yeah. Why are they not forcing?
Honestly, there's nobody that gets more annoyed with things like this than me. Honestly, there isn't. I could put my foot through telly when I hear things like this, but I just think, what's the fucking point?
WBC needs to grow up here, though. Sullivan needs to grow up here.
He won't
making allowances for him to jump in these circus acts.
Listen, if we're gonna stop this, we need to stop Jake Paul. We need to stop Logan Paul. We need to stop these.
But they're not heavyweight champion of the world, though.
No, we need to stop it all. If you're gonna stop this, you need to stop it all because it all has a knock-on effect, and it's all.
The problem is, it's very simple. Like Cole just said, if the WBC had anything about him, they'd be calling his mandatory.
But we know they haven't, don't we?
Yeah, but they're supposedly the golden belt of boxing. They're meant to be the leading organisation in world boxing, and they're allowing the champion of the golden division not to have to have a mandatory.
Hey, I'm not being funny, but they made a belt for Jake Paul v Tommy Fury. They made him a belt to win. Listen, come on, how can we take him serious? People should be getting the belt and putting it in bin. But titles don't make fighters. Do you know what I mean?
Fighters. I get that the prize fighters, Dad. I get that honestly, but. Surely if he fights the best, he'll earn enough money anyway.
Yeah.
Surely.
He's already got enough money. He's already got enough.
It's just.
Do you know what the thing is, mate?
You're telling me he makes more money fighting Francis Ngannou than he does fighting Usyk or AJ?
Do you know what, mate? I won't like to say.
I know. I bet it's close.
Mate. Honestly, mate. Mate, honestly, you've got to think as well. You've got the listen. If he fights AJ or Usyk, you've got the boxing card, right? if you get Simon Ngannou, mate, you've got this MMA lot. And in America, mate, MMA is absolutely
I
monstrous.
know, I get that. I understand that.
So
I understand.
I don't think it's
The
too
thing
far.
is, this isn't even.
There's not much difference, mate. I tell you.
This
Well, why
isn't
do you
even.
think Ngannou's jumping in with a boxer? Because
Yeah.
he wants.
It's all mega money.
This isn't even. It's not even going to be a competitive fight.
That's why it's
No.
an exhibition.
Yeah.
It's an absolute joke.
Yeah, no.
I'm disappointed. I can't tell you how disappointed I am that this is happening, mate.
Give me 2 months. Give me 2 months. I'll put a better show up than Ngannou will against him.
But the public tide of opinion starting to turn a little bit into it.
He's a big.
And then you've got Frank Warren coming out and saying it's going to change the landscape of boxing. This announcement will change the landscape of boxing. Jesus.
Yeah, but he's
How
a
many
promoter
times,
into
right?
it.
How many times, right? There's a saying called "stay in your lane."
Yeah.
Right now, it goes back. I remember when Ali were challenged.
Wrestler.
No, he fought a wrestler, but he was actually challenged by one of Gracie's, Helio Gracie, who was obviously a pioneer of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And Ali basically laughed at him and said, What do you want to fight under there? Well, we'll fight in Jiu-Jitsu. And Ali went, why would I fight in Jiu-Jitsu? I don't know Jiu-Jitsu. He said, well, would you fight me as a boxer? Stood up. Yeah. Well, no. He says, well, stop talking nonsense then. Oh, then he says, we can fight a crossover. Well, what's that then? He says, well, I'll do jiu-jitsu, you do boxing. He went, well, that's what would have happened anyway. And he went, well, where do we fight, in a ring or a cage? And he went, okay, well, no, because I want to fight in a ring. You know, Ali basically treated it for what it were. Yeah. And that with wrestler were, you know, that were an exhibition, weren't it? I think.
Well, that was just that was just to get Ali's name over.
Yeah,
over
but then you get like, I mean, I blame McGregor and Mayweather. Me, to be fair, I do. I put a lot of blame on that.
And the money it generated does.
Yeah,
that's what
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Andy. That, you know, Mayweather McGregor generated probably more than any other Mayweather Pacquiao.
Let's look at that then, Daz. Mayweather was retired.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury's heavyweight champion.
Listen, I'm not justifying it, mate. I am not justifying it. And listen, I love the heavyweight division. I was an heavyweight myself. Do you know what I mean? And it's mid division. I love it, but I'm absolutely appalled by it at the minute. And listen, and do you know what makes it worse? Tyson Fury probably is the best heavyweight of his generation, be a long way.
Yes.
He is going to be in them. He probably should, and he probably still will be. But the argument would be a lot better for him if he beat Usyk and AJ and, I don't know, let's say Jared Anderson, if he improves on that last performance. Beats them three.
Right, by the way.
Yeah, beats them three. You know, I would have said Joe Joyce, but Joyce has sort of lost that thingy. So if he beats like AJ, Usyk, and then a top contender, and then says call it a day, then he's more in the mix for one of the best ever. But he's still going to be in talk because of what he can do. But why on earth would you? Well, it's money, mate. It's money. There's no other explanation for it. It's money.
The thing is, it's just in my opinion, mate, as a boxing fan, it's another nail in the coffin of boxing, because he's basically saying, I don't need to fight Usyk. I'm not interested in becoming undisputed.
Yeah.
I'll go off and fight an exhibition against somebody that's not even a boxer.
I think his public relations man needs sacking.
It's awful. I mean, in the last 4 or 5 years, Tyson Fury's public opinion has gone through the roof.
Mate, he did
in the early days when he was making comments that probably weren't the best things to be saying.
And punching himself in the face.
And he wasn't very well liked by the public, was there? Let's be right.
No.
You know, he went over to Germany, did something that nobody else has been able to do. Outstanding he was, and he never really got the credit he deserved because the public weren't on his side.
No, and then he had.
Comes back after the horrors that he went through. He comes back and he's the darling of the public because he's embraced everybody, and he's now undoing all that.
Yeah.
Because
Hey,
he keeps coming out with these Instagram videos. Big fight coming, it's been signed, can't wait, and then nothing.
Yeah.
And that's happened. That's happened for the last 14 months.
Yeah, let's be fair though with him and all. Coming back from all what he went through, got himself fit, jumped straight in with Wilder, and you know, should have won that fight, mate. Should have won that fight.
Well, he did, didn't he? Come on.
But getting up, how he got up, mate, from that last.
Outstanding, mate.
I mean, I think everyone and the dog were like, I was doing it. I was watching it. Got it with right hand. They were going down, sweeping left up, flush under the chin, and he was laid there asleep. And ref were counting, and I'm like, what's he counting for? And how he got up and then won the rest of the round, really.
But that's my point, though, Daz. That's the Tyson Fury that we all want to see. The Tyson Fury that don't care. He'll go in with anybody. The biggest puncher in the biggest puncher in boxing history, and he's just come back from losing all that weight. Not really fought anybody, and he's jumping straight in with him. That's the Tyson Fury we want to see, not the Tyson Fury that's not fighting Usyk because there's not enough money.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not fighting AJ because there's not enough money.
In heavyweight division, just talking about Wilder, who in history's punched harder than him?
Probably nobody.
I mean, only two I can think of.
Probably nobody.
Only two I can think of that.
Ernie Shavers, maybe.
Ernie Shavers and probably Jack Dempsey. You know, but you're talking.
For Tyson Fury to jump straight in with him after all those demons. That's the Tyson Fury that we want to see. The Tyson Fury that did that. The Tyson Fury that went to Germany and destroyed a 10-year reigning champion.
Yeah. Start boxing him. Took the piss out of him.
But where's that Tyson Fury gone? Where's that Tyson Fury gone?
Do you know what, mate? And all you get when you make this point to people as well is, oh, boxing's a business. It's like, yeah, it is now. And that's a sad thing.
How much money does he need, though?
You have to ask him that. You know what I mean?
When is there enough money and it becomes about his legacy?
Mate,
when does that happen?
Do you know what, right? You would not believe, and I'm not going to name any names, but you would not believe, mate, I could probably earn a living, right, coaching stand-up to MMA fighters.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I've already been approached several times. I could earn a fortune going into MMA, I think, and coaching stand-up.
As a boxing coach.
Yeah, coaching the stand-up. But it's not me. Do you know what I mean? I'm a boxer. I'm a boxing man through and through.
The thing is, when they don't call it boxing, they call it striking, don't they?
Yeah, stand-up,
it's a completely different concept. Because when they're striking, they're also thinking about what they're going to do after that strike, like a takedown or a leg kick, so that the body's in a completely different position.
Yeah.
You know, boxers
different angles, isn't it? Different angles.
Yeah, this is why when you get someone like McGregor who's dominant in MMA, he gets played with by a retiring Mayweather because it's a completely different sport.
It is. It's just a case of. Thing is, with striking, you have your boxing coaches, striking coaches, in you know, for your boxing from MMA. It's all about basically you teach them, obviously the punchers step off, but then it's up to the Muay Thai coach to be teaching transition from punch to, you know, punch to kicks, and then it's your jiu-jitsu coach. You know, it's very, very, very technical, and it's an art form what they do. But you know, if it's a different sport altogether. You know, I mean,
Well, you know what? You know what's really funny though. You know what's really funny is that there's been a number of videos made by Tyson Fury saying that he would destroy Francis Ngannou and John Jones on the same night.
Well, in a boxing ring, he probably would.
But why? So why is this an exhibition then? If that's the case, why is it not? Why are they not giving one of those two a boxing license and making it for the belt?
Well, they're not going to have it. That's what I mean. With Fury saying he'd destroy them both in the same night, he probably would. That's why you're not going to have just one of them boxing.
And also, as boxing fans, will be even more pissed off if they start giving John Jones a WBC shot.
Oh, mate. I mean, it's like...
It just shouldn't be happening. It's simple as that.
No. But look at...
If Tyson Fury wants to go and do that, when he's beat Usyk and when he's beat AJ and he's done, he's got nothing else to improve. He's become undisputed champion. He's got nothing else to prove. Go off and have your exhibitions then and make yourself millions.
Yeah.
Or why not stay retired?
Yeah,
either or. Yeah, either or.
Yeah, it just the point is, it just makes a mockery of boxing.
I think it does, mate. And boxing's in a bad place. Yeah, we're starting to get some good fights made now. But the UFC's pissing all over boxing at the minute.
Mate,
because they make the big fight after fight.
The simple
There's only one promoter in that game, isn't there?
Yeah,
that's
different
landscape.
But you've got Dana White for UFC, then you've got that, I don't know what it is, who does Bellator. They're the two main ones. But the both of them, if you're ranked number 4, you've got to fight number 3 to get to number 3.
That's right, yeah.
If you're number 2, you go fight number 1 to get number 1 and get a shot at a title.
Yeah.
Why is boxing not doing that?
Well, it should be, shouldn't it?
Different governing bodies, promoters, boxing managers, it's all in the mix, isn't it?
Hey, I'd fair to say I never thought I'd say this, but fair to say it's probably easier to win a world title in boxing than it is in MMA, in Bellator and UFC.
Because there's loads of different versions in boxing, isn't it?
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Even the IBO is starting to muscle in now, aren't they? Is trying to be recognised.
Yeah. And you know what? You know, if they start being strict and stuff with the fighters who fight for the titles and all this stuff, they probably could be recognised as a decent organisation. But I think it's all about when you know, if you're having 2 Mexican road sweepers fighting for your world title, it's not going to be, you know, it's not really going to go down well. But if you're having, I mean, Max Eu's fighting Cambosos for that.
I think it is the IBO, to be honest. I think it is.
Yeah. You know, that's a little bit of credibility. Do you know what I mean?
And they've had Eubank Jr. as champion, haven't they? There's more credibility.
Well, I won't go that far, but yeah, that's a bit, you know.
Against an old man, by the way. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've done that one to death. Just before we move on to the main topic that you want to talk about tonight, I just wanted to touch on Leigh Wood and the situation with what's happening with the 6th round.
Can we go a week without talking about Leigh Bloody Wood?
It's the Leigh Wood show, didn't you know that, Daz?
Come on. Got to call it Last Leigh Boxing.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm quite
I've heard that much about Leigh Wood. I feel like
I won't going to bring him up tonight, Daz. I won't, you know.
Well, I am.
Leigh, if you're still watching, Leigh, come on, have a word.
I am going to bring it up. I am going to bring it up. It's interesting.
I'm only joking, man.
What, do you mean our boys have let him down?
Mate, I think I tagged you in the
Forrest letting him down though, Cole?
Yes.
Or is it the timing that's not right?
I'm not going to sit on the fence like you. I think Forrest will let him down on this instance.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I think Forrest have tried to do everything they can to make it work, but I don't think the timing's right.
Well, they've obviously not done enough, or it'd be on.
I mean, what's the problem with it? Why?
They've just relayed the pitch. I think is the main problem.
So, but on a football pitch, when you're having a stadium fight, you have trackway on it.
You do, but I don't know how that affects a brand new laid
Doesn't.
pitch. Mate. I think
It
that
doesn't affect the
I
pitch at
don't
all.
know. But like I say, it's also,
I can tell you that.
talking-
I can tell you that for definite because my brother lays them.
right, but you're also
But-
talking about the timing of where it is in the season. You
No,
know, there's not.
because it's an
turnaround.
international break.
Yeah, there's not a lot of turnaround though, is there? So I don't know, mate. For whatever reason, anyway. For whatever reason, I'm not throwing.
No,
I'm
I
not
can tell you another bit of info as well. Basically, because my brother works for a company and he puts trackway down on pitches, for big events, concerts,
Yeah.
boxing. Basically, he did the one for Chris Billam Smith, and
Down at Bournemouth.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was laid on the Friday, and then it was all done and gone by early hours Sunday morning. So there's
Right.
no massive time frame.
Right.
It's pretty much done. It's all.
It will be interesting to know why it didn't happen if it ever comes out.
Yeah, it's a shame.
let's give a bit of balance. I know you've thrown them under the bus there, Cole, because you're not a Forest fan. I know why
No,
you've
it's
done
not that. It's not that at all. You do me a disservice here. I think
You're
it's
not
just
a
because.
Forest fan.
No.
No,
I'm not.
it's
It's
not-
nothing to do with my football allegiance. It's to do
Yeah.
with the fact that Lee Wood's been asking to fight at the City Ground. You've got an international window mid-September. So I'd just like to know what the reason were why it's not happening, to be honest.
Well, an interesting thing is on Twitter, Nick Ball's actually calling Josh Warrington. Nick Ball's calling for Josh Warrington fight.
Yeah, well, I think Warrington to go to the States.
That's not going to happen, is it? Come on. Josh Warrington's done an interview and said he's looking elsewhere. He still wants the Lee Wood fight, but he's looking elsewhere.
Yes,
I mean, he's number one now. He's number one in the WBC.
who is?
Warrington.
Is there?
Yeah, against
I know he's up there.
Ramirez is the champion. So the likelihood is, this is what I think. I think, my personal opinion, I said it at the time, was I think Lee Wood would have been not happy, but I think he would have dropped the strap if the fight was going to be at the City Ground, because that was his legacy. He wanted to fight there. The fact now is, whoever he fights, it's going to be likely to be Manchester again. There's no way Lee Wood is dropping his belt to fight Warrington at Manchester. It's not going to happen. So the likelihood is Lee Wood's now going to fight
Well,
Otabek Kalmatov is mandatory challenger, which means Warrington is then left out in the wilderness, and he's Warrington will probably end up going and fighting in the States for that WBC belt, I reckon.
well, Ray Vargas is world champion, WBC. Brandon Figueroa's interim. Warrington's number one contender, and Nick Ball's number two.
That's why Nick Ball's called him out then.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised.
That's that spot, don't you?
I mean, Jazza Dickens is number 8.
How's that happened?
Kolmatov's number 10.
Yeah, righto. Yeah, rankings make no sense, do they?
No, not at all, mate. Not at all.
Yeah, so I mean, if Wood has got to fight, if Wood's got to fight Kolmatov, then it needs to be in Nottingham. It needs to be at the arena. Why take him to Manchester?
Yeah, it don't make sense.
I just wanted to have a little conversation about that, because it seems to be dragging on a bit now, and I think this is one of the reasons why it's not happened.
What about if it was Elland Road for the money?
Well, that's a better place to be fighting than Manchester, because
Lee Wood might think, sod it, as long as I get enough bunts, I'll go into his backyard.
Yeah, maybe.
Nottingham fans travel up to Leeds.
Yeah.
I think that might be a possibility.
That's a shout. But all the rumours are that they're trying to make it at Manchester Arena. neutral
It
ground.
won't be Manchester. No way. No way.
I'll be very disappointed if it is.
Nah, not for me.
Okay, then. Swiftly moving on, Cole.
So, last topic of the night then. So, I just thought we often mention small hall shows. Daz is involved with fighters on small hall shows. Me and Andy often cover small hall shows. So I just wanted to have a general debate about, do we think small hall shows are coming to an end? I've got a bit of info about some of the costs that are associated with small hall shows, which obviously prove challenging for all involved. I just want to stress to start with, the figures that I've got have come from online, from the British Boxing Board of Control Green Book. In nowhere is any promoter or anyone that I'm involved with locally giving me any info. So I just want to make that clear, so no one gets the or thinks I'm divulging information. So obviously I've been looking at I'm working on your call. So your call costs on average, now these are 2021 figures, it costs $2,000 just for the venue. So I'm just going to run through some costs, and Darren might know roughly some of these. So the ring on average costs 350 quid. Security for the night, depending on crowd, is normally around $1,000. DJ is normally around 300 quid. MC is normally around 500 quid. 2 doctors, roughly 200 to 400 quid each, plus expenses. Referees are normally around 200 quid each, plus expenses. Timekeeper is normally around 150 quid, plus expenses. They normally have a runner for 50 quid. If you bring boxers in from abroad, normally the purses are higher, and there's also a foreign trainer fee that the British Boxing Board of Control collect. Ambulances can range from about 700 quid. So I just want to give an essence of some of the costs that are associated for these shows before we even start talking about purses, etc., etc. So I just want to have a conversation about, obviously we see it from the inside, just how difficult it is for these small hall shows to be profitable, and are we in danger of losing them? And let's all agree that it is the lifeblood of the sport. So I know, Andy, you're quite vocal about small hall shows, so obviously that gives you a bit of context, because not many fight fans know about the background and the costs and etc., etc., and the pressure it puts on home fighters in terms of shifting tickets. So just give us your view on, do you think there's a future for small hall shows, and maybe a bit about what they need to do?
Well, wow. I mean, where do I start here?
What, replying to that?
Small hall shows,
Sharing Nixon.
promoters that run small hall shows have it really, really, really tough. And the fighters that fight on small hall shows, the home fighters, have it really, really, really tough. I'll be surprised. And again, like Cole said at the start, this is no information from anybody. No local promoters, no nothing. I'll be surprised if promoters that are promoting small hall shows make hardly any money at all. They do it for the love of the sport, mate. They do it for the love of bringing the next generation through. And small hall shows are the lifeblood. It's a shame that there's not more publicity for small hall shows and they don't get bigger crowds. Fighters, for people that don't know, the home fighters that are fighting on small hall shows have to sell tickets. From that ticket money, they have to pay for the away fighter, for the away coach, expenses. If that fighter's coming from abroad, they pay for travel, everything. Before you even get started, before they make any money themselves. So if they don't sell enough tickets, that expense comes out their own pockets.
I'm just literally sharing, I'm sharing post She's got 3 weeks to sell tickets. And she's not saying that, you know, she's not covering opponent. It's, and obviously I was feeling that it's very frustrating for small hall, not just for promoters, but for boxers as well.
What's the answer, Daz? How can it be changed to benefit both fighters and promoters?
Mate, I honestly don't know. It's the cost. It's the cost of everything, isn't it? I mean, did Carl have? I don't know if you mentioned they have house seconds as well.
Yeah, I didn't list that one, Daz.
You know, that's probably another 200 quid.
Yeah.
£100 each. You know, do you know sometimes though, mate? It's. Let me just finish doing this.
And what does just why you doing that? What do medicals coming out on average? The annual medical?
Oh, mate. I think about 500.
That's just the medical. What about brain scans? That's extra, right?
Well, yeah. You've got. I think altogether, mate, you're talking over £1,000 for brain scan, medical, all that sort of stuff.
I think a lot of people get turned off from going to small hall shows because of the price of the tickets. Now, normally you range in a box standard ticket's about 40 odd quid, and then it goes up to about 80 odd pound if it's going to be a meal with the ticket. Sounds a lot of money when you can buy a ticket for a stadium fight for around about the same price. But what you got to consider is
the view. You probably nosebleed.
You're in the gods. You're in the gods, right? But what you got to consider is that you might only get 1,000 people in a venue for a small hall show. The only way they can make them fights happen and those shows go ahead is with that pricing.
Well, the average small hall cost under for a show from start to finish for the promoters around 18 to 20 grand.
Mad.
That's the average.
I mean,
that's about right, Daz.
Yeah, mate. I mean, I obviously don't. I'm not involved in that. No. But yeah, it sounds it. Yeah, I mean, Nick's, you know, from this experience with this fight, she's had a full training. She had full training camp, but obviously it was for a fight that never materialized, a big title fight. So she's, you know, thanks to Steffi Bull and Ryan Rhodes have put her on there short 15th. But she's had 3 weeks to sell tickets. Obviously, people have made plans. We're going on holiday, middle of July. She's got an house fee to pay as well on top of that, which is like 750 quid. She's got the opponent to pay, which is about 1,600 quid. Flights, accommodation,
expenses.
Which the flights today, I've had a conversation with the matchmaker. The flights have gone from being 500 quid to over £1,000.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's like crazy. I mean, listen, let's be fair, mate. Last fight, her opponent, mate, cost her $3.5 grand over. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? She's fighting for free.
Yeah.
You know, she puts the work in, what she's putting in, and she's fighting for free. And listen, I've said to her, I know which way it's going to go, but it makes boxers go one or two ways. It either makes them turn around and think, do you know what? Can't be arsed with this. Can't be arsed with it. Or it steals them and makes them into a monster.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree, mate. And how many fighters do you see fall by the wayside because of it.
A lot. It's crazy, mate, and it's not. You can't blame the promoters for these prices. It's the cost of everything.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Like,
You know what I mean?
they have to put the price in at what they put it at. Ticket price. It's got to be at what they put it at. Otherwise, small oil shows would be no more.
No, I mean you're talking. We've been looking into a WBA Intercontinental title fight for her, and there's no pricings of how much they charge sanctioning fees for that, really. But looking at the IBO Intercontinental, when all their fees are paid, you're talking $6,000, $6-7 for IBO. So what's WBA going to be? Probably going to be $10,000, mate.
Yeah, if not more.
Probably
it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, Daz. But I can't stress enough. Like Cole said, I'm a massive advocate for small oil because there would be no massive shows without small oil boxing.
Can you imagine if small oil boxing dies, mate? Boxing dies.
Of course it does.
Simple as.
Of course it does. Because where are the fighters coming from?
There's like 2, 3, 4, 5 shows every week, small oil.
Yeah, all over the country.
You know what?
Where are the fighters coming from? Where are the fighters coming from for these the next generation for these massive promoters? Where are they coming from if small oil boxing dies out?
Exactly. Well, listen, where's the tests coming from for the big prospects? Like, look at Ryan Amos. Amos, Region Aid. Do you know what I mean? That's just one recent example. You know what I mean? If Ryan weren't boxing on small oil shows, he wouldn't have got the experience he got, to enable him to perform how he performed. And
that's got to be the dream, right, for these fighters who are operating at small oil. That they might get a phone call to appear on a DAZN, on a BT, on a boxing card.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. I mean, listen, I think like such as Ryan's only going to get better from this. So, he might go back and think, do you know what? Maybe I ain't got enough pop in my shots at that level. I need to work on doing something to try and increase my power a little bit. You know what I mean? A clever lad. And that's what I mean. It's these opportunities that small oil boxing's provided.
And you can't blame the likes of Lee Wood at world level getting every penny he can out the deal, can you?
No, definitely not. I mean,
that's where fighters like Lee have come from. From the small oil shows. He's realised how difficult it is.
Yeah, Sonny Edwards, mate. Sonny Edwards started off in leisure centres.
There's so many like it, mate. There's so many like it that have come from that background. They've actually had jobs full time. I mean, like Nick, bringing Nick up obviously because she's your fighter. She works full time.
Yeah,
and she wouldn't be able to. She wouldn't be able to be a boxer if she didn't.
No, unless. I mean, I've got a shout out to our sponsors, really. Sponsors, I mean, I can't name them all, because I can't remember them. But, without them, it's, it'd be probably impossible. I mean, she's just literally shared a thing on Facebook that, it's like she doesn't sell enough tickets, she can't box. She's got 3-week notice. And then there's like people who've reserved them. And it's what I've told her through it past anyway. Can you get money in from now? She don't want that stress on fight week.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just been a bit of a nightmare. But this is the thing, you see, as well. We what she were promised, and the trouble with small oil as well, you got a lot of promoters who, rather than sort of in some instances try and work together, they're trying to screw each other over, and that's there's only the fighters that lose out on that. Yeah. Nick were waiting for a fight for a major title, as the champion was, and she was messed about with excuse after excuse after excuse to just basically be told it's not going to happen.
And that's happening. I mean, we're highlighting Nick because obviously you're on the show, but that's happening to fighters up and down the country.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but this is
I think one answer does. I think like back in the day, the ITVs and the BBC should start streaming these small old shows. Because let's be honest, you haven't got a budget nowadays to compete with Sky and DAZN and BT.
Yeah.
But also, they will get an hardcore following, and the viewers will come. Because
Mate, ITV over at grandstands used to show like area title fights.
Yeah.
And you had some fights, mate. I used to remember watching them as a kid. You know what I mean? And thinking, bloody hell, like that. You know, some of them area title fights are absolute barnstormers.
Oh, I definitely agree, mate. They're brilliant.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Brilliant.
you two are a bit old. You two are a bit older than me, so I'm assuming you've been there with your black and white portal with the coat hanger in the top.
When it comes on telly saying so and so in green shorts, so and so in black shorts, is that what we can't tell?
Was you pedaling as well with the electric?
Yeah, but you know, it's like, mate, something needs to happen like that. And I know there's a lot of social media platforms that are streaming fight shows. You know, you're on YouTube and that, but
it does nothing for the show, though, does it? It don't put any money back into the show.
No, I mean, can you imagine the last show Nick boxed on, for instance, Top at Bill, Ahmed Gaz v Reese Mould. I mean, listen, you show that on ITV X or ITVB or whatever it is, or Channel 5, BBC One, iPlayer or whatever. Show that on it.
All these big TV channels have got streaming platforms now.
Yeah, show that on a Saturday afternoon, day after.
Yep.
If you're not going to show it live, mate, people will watch that on a Saturday afternoon.
Outstanding fight as well.
Great fight.
And again, those type of fights are happening up and down the country.
Yeah, great fight, mate.
And no one, these boxing casuals, as they sometimes get called, which is a bit unfair, that only watch the large shows. They don't understand what's happening in grassroots in boxing, and how difficult it is for fighters.
Do you know the boxing?
Really, really tough.
The boxing casuals, though, I think things like showing such as Reese Mould, Ahmed Gaz day after or live, whatever, on the streaming platform, like on ITV streaming platform, BBC, whatever, that attracts them because they watch these big fights wanting to see a knockout and an all-out war. And
also, mate, they're the same people that complain about undercards for massive promoters because they're all one-sided.
Yeah.
They're always one-sided. They get a journeyman in for the prospect who basically just plays with him.
Yeah.
Well,
can you remember
a Midland area title or an area title for a Southern area title, whatever?
Yeah.
They're always 50-50. They're always very competitive.
Can you remember when you had I mean, you're not talking that long ago either. I mean, when with Naz and stuff like that. You had Naz fighting Top at Bill, and then you had 3 world title fights under it.
Yeah.
I think on one of his bills, you had Naz at Top at Bill, then you had Calzaghe v Eubank under it. I can't exactly, I don't know if Johnny Nelson wrote, but you had like 3 or 4 world title fights.
And I know Sky wasn't, I know satellite TV wasn't so big as it was now on the streaming platform, but it did some right numbers, didn't it?
Hey, it was mad. Can you imagine, right? If you had Errol Spence v Crawford, have you seen undercard for Errol Spence v Crawford?
Shocking.
No.
I don't think it's great personally. I think there's one fight that I thought.
All the money's gone to the main event, hasn't
yeah.
it?
Can you imagine if you had Errol Spence v Crawford top at Bill, then you had Jaron Ennis v thingy next, and then you had I don't know, choose another weight, another weight. Oh, listen, let's proper be optimistic here. Let's say you had Shakur Stevenson v Devin Haney, Spence v Crawford on same bill, and then a couple. I mean, listen, I'm reaching for stars here, but this
yeah. I understand the point you're making, mate.
This used to happen.
Yeah, it did.
Do you know what I mean? I remember watching. I mean, Tyson v Bruno, and they had a geezer on the second fight, Tyson v Bruno, and it was like I cut a few fights on, and then I got mesmerised, mate. Ricardo Lopez, we're on against a kid called Aya Viamore, and I was mesmerised with Ricardo Lopez.
See, ironically, Dad, there's too much money in boxing now for that to happen, isn't there?
Yeah. There's too much money. There's too many. There's
too many promoters.
There's too many networks pulling the strings.
Do you know what you get? Do you know what you get though? Do you know if you've got Stevenson, Vianney, and Spence v Crawford on the same bill, they'd be arguing. They'd be arguing who's going to be top at bill, and that'd probably scupper it.
And who's going to walk?
It would. But yeah, getting back to the topic, Small and how difficult it is without something happening. Eventually, promoters are going to start walking away.
It's not worth headache.
It's not worth the headache, and they're not making anything a lot of the time. So, where's the incentive for them to keep doing it?
I thought Fight Zone might have been the answer at one point, but it's not proven that, is it?
No.
He came in with the right intentions, though, Daz, didn't they?
Well, no comment.
Initially, but I think they've not got the traction they thought they were going to get, Carl.
No comment.
I just they've gone about things the wrong way, in my opinion. They need 2 or 3 competitives to Fight Zone.
I tell you what. Now we're talking about him. I've got to say it because if I don't, I'll get an headache. Right? Fight Zone. We're going to put Nick v. Emma Dolan for Commonwealth title on. The venues changed for God knows how long. It was Liverpool one day, Sheffield another, then it was Malta. We had excuse after excuse. Nick were training for it. I just want to say, this is in no way a slight on Carl Greaves and Emma Dolan because they were in the same boat. They've been left in the same boat. We had excuse after excuse. One of the excuses were the people who run Fight Zone are both getting married on the same week. Come on, mate. Where are you getting your excuses from? A fucking Kinder egg. Right? The reason why I get peed off with it, mate, it's cost my fighter.
Yeah.
She could have gone on, another couple of shows, but they've dangled the carrot that they couldn't deliver. Now, rather than turn around and say, "Yeah, do you know what? We can't put that on. It doesn't make sense." They've dangled it out, and she's now under immense pressure to sell tickets because if she doesn't sell tickets in 3 weeks, she'd probably don't box till September.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Listen, I've put her through hell, mate, for 2 months in camp thinking she's boxing for the Commonwealth title. I've put her through it. Proper put her through it. You know what I mean? And it's like, for what? It's for nothing. And then I'm having to, it makes my job harder because I'm having to tailor training for this fight, which is great. But then it's like, another excuse, right? So what? So I'm going to have to, put it off. We're going to have to taper it down now. She's got, so it's like, listen, I'm surprised she hasn't got ill, mate. We all changes in it. Surprised, we're having to taper stuff down here and there, but she's been consummate professional. She's just had head down, turned up to training all the time. She just wants to get in there and punch somebody. And I'm like this. I think it'll go the way where it'll steal her. And when she fights for a title, whoever she fights is in trouble.
Yeah. I agree. I agree because she's got that right mentality, Daz. But it could have very easily gone the opposite way, couldn't it? She could have very easily gone, what's the point in me doing this? Yeah.
I'd have understood. I mean, obviously I'd have tried to talk her out of it.
Of course.
But, if she'd have turned around and she could have gone, you know what? I'm not training until I get a fight locked in, until I get a date for this Commonwealth title. Because that girl's been through it, mate. She's been sparring top class girls. She's not had an easy sparring session. She's been. I mean, she sparred a girl. Listen, this is the talent of her. She sparred a girl who walked away from boxing for 5 years, has been back training 6 months, and breezed it straight back onto Team GB. Do you know what I mean? Top class girl.
It sounds like a really, really disappointing situation, mate. I mean, what can you say?
Mate, listen, I might get some stick for it, right? I might get some stick for it, mentioning Fight Zone like that. But at the end of the day, I've got all the voice things with these excuses, and it's like, and then they turn around and said they can't deliver it. It's like, well, why don't you just say that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why don't you just say that? You know, and it's just ridiculous, mate. It's just absolutely.
The fact that it's taken so long and fell through. The only person suffering for that is the two fighters, Nick and Amendola.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, listen, and do you know what, mate? Do you know through all of it, me and Carl were talking to each other through it,
Right?
going, what's going off? Do you know what I mean? Excuse after excuse, and it's left Emma Dolan in limbo, and it's left Nick in limbo, and you know, let's be fair. I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen in future, but it's cost. You know, boxing fans a great fight, because that'd be a great fight. That.
Yeah, it would.
You know what I mean? 2 undefeated girls as well, and credit to Emma Dolan, being prepared to fight a dangerous girl, and same with Nick. You know, obviously Emma's got something Nick wants, and that's how it should be. So full credit to both of them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's in no way a slight on Carl, because he's in the same boat as me.
Yeah, well, let's hope it does happen. Let's hope it can be made by maybe another promoter, even. Let's hope it can be made.
Andy need it to happen, because he's already put a 10 on Emma Dolan to win.
Oh,
Yeah,
outrageous, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Shocking. More faces in a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, more faces than Big Ben. That's what he's got.
Let's hope it does happen, and like I say, maybe with another promoter, whatever. But let's hope it does happen, because it's a fight. It's a fight that I think everybody wants to see.
Do you want to give a quick plug for the gym opening, Daz, before we bring it to an end?
Yeah. Basically, I'm part of, as you know from this show, I was obviously gymless. You know, we're a bit of a nomad. I've now joined a long time friends, Robert Riley and Gary. I'm part of Team Riley's. We're opening got a new premises opening officially opening on 10th July. But there's a bit of a open day on Saturday morning, which I know you can't make it, Carl, can you?
I might be there. I might surprise you, Dad. I'll keep you guessing.
Hopefully. But yeah, if you know, I know Andy's definitely coming, and if you know both of you could be there, that'd be great. We've got, you know, as amateurs there, you know, they're excited to have an interview.
Oh, there.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Well, I better get up there then, because Andy's shy to interview.
Yeah,
so I won't want to
hey,
upset him.
honestly, listen, there's a few kids there who are going to be special as well. They're going to be special.
Well, they've got a special person interviewing them, haven't they?
And then obviously, I mean, there's a couple of pros that can't be there. Obviously, they already made plans.
Yeah.
We're due to open last week, but obviously it's run over by a week. But yeah, it's on Richmond Park Road, Sheffield, Handsworth. And like I've said on social media, if there's any, you know, amateurs who are looking to turn over, any unattached pros, whether you want to box in home corner or away corner, whatever ambitions you got, if you want to earn a few quid or if you want to be a champion, come and see us, get in touch. I'll say it, and I've said it a million times, the management and training deal won't be beat anywhere on price and quality. You know, the experience you've got. I mean, I've been involved in boxing 30 years. You know, been around it since I was 15. Gary's been around it pretty much, probably a bit less because he's a bit younger than me, even though he looks older. Rob's been around it 40 years plus, I think. ex-professional himself as well. So, you know, it's we're on the up, exciting times, and obviously you'll be doing a bit of interviewing and have a look round yourselves.
Looking forward to coming down, mate. Looking forward to coming down. I mean, it can't be understated, can it, Daz, what a gym like this opening up in the community does for the surrounding area?
No, I mean, to be fair, mate, where we were before in Page Hall, it was a bit, I think it's fair to say it was a bit of a rougher area.
Right.
It was a bit, you know, rough and, you know, not much to do. I'm not quite sure on the antisocial behaviour situation, and maybe there were some gangs and stuff. But
Right.
listen, a lot of them, mate, are still coming down to Handsworth.
How
So
far is it from your old
that's
premises
good.
then?
I think it's about, 10 minutes in a car.
Right, okay.
But these buses, I mean, one at lads, one at amateurs, he gets on his bike.
Does it?
Yeah, he gets on his bike, yeah. And do you know what, mate? The amateur coaches, mate, because there's a couple of lads who live in Page Hall, I have to give him a bit of a shout, mate. I'll do it on the day. I'll give him a shout on the day. He actually picks the lads up. You know, does a full shift at work, and then picks them up at weight at gym so they can train. You know, and then takes them home. You know, and that's all. You know, out of goodness of his heart because he loves it. You know, all amateur coaches down at Riders. Well, you'll meet them, mate. They're brilliant. Yeah, they're very good. They're lifeblood, aren't they?
Of course.
Yeah.
They do it for nothing.
Yeah.
Put the hours in for nothing. You know, it's. I always said that the amateur coaches have got it harder than us professional coaches, to be fair.
Well, we've just been talking about small hall boxing being the lifeblood for these massive shows. Amateur boxing is the lifeblood for professional boxing.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, we're having discussions about it, saying, I mean, the amateur side of it. I mean, some of the lads have boxed for Yorkshire, and obviously they go into thing, and then they have to be cornered by a Yorkshire coach.
Yeah.
Which I've never agreed with that, to be fair.
Yeah.
You know, I can understand what they're saying with England. You know, England, I sort of understand that a little bit, but you know, at regional level, I mean, getting with your own coach, who knows you better?
It makes sense, don't it?
Yeah, you know, but never mind.
So, Gaz, what time is it open to the public on Saturday?
I think it's 10 till 1.
Anybody that lives in the Sheffield area or surrounding area, come down, check it out, see what it's all about.
Listen, I've got to say as well, it's not just a boxing gym; it's a fully equipped weights gym as well.
Right.
You know, you've got personal training options. I mean, Richard Riley, Rob's son. There's not a lot he don't know about the weight side of stuff. You know, strength and conditioning. You know, he's a big Oss himself, and you know he does all boxers strength and conditioning. You know, very knowledgeable on that side of things. So I think he's always up. He's always available for one-to-ones. I am as well. I'm available for one-to-one boxing. Basically, I'll tailor it as well. If you want to just be fit like a boxer, then I'll train you accordingly to be fit like a boxer. If you want to learn to box privately to start with, then I'll teach you how to box, and it'll be a bit of fitness mixed in and technique as well. So that's available. Rob does them as well. So there's loads available, you know.
Great
and like I say, it's a fully functional weight gym as well. So he's got a bit of everything.
Well, I think that's a good place to end it, Andy. So,
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for all the comments in the sidebar. Daz, thanks for joining. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Pleasure, mate.
And cheers for your contribution as ever. Thanks for bringing me up. So this has been Last Bell Boxing, live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Like, comment, subscribe. Comments welcome in the comments box below. We'll see you next Thursday at 7 o'clock. Cheers.